So let's talk about what you lost because it's very important to you, open source. And when you changed the license to, it was SSPL, correct? Was the available license, was server side public license?
Yeah, we changed it to actually to two licenses that you could
Okay.
choose from. The SSPL one that MongoDB changed to.
Mm-hmm.
So MongoDB did that change as well, or a license that we wrote that was more in the Apache type. There's kind of like two families of licenses. We call it the Elastic License V2. It's actually a very, very simple license.
Mm-hmm.
And we allowed users to choose between them because some were concerned about the SSPL, some were concerned about the Elastic License V2. We kept all of our code open. We kept all of our free stuff free. We just didn't call it open source. Like nothing changed except for the license, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes total sense. And so in so doing, because SSPL and I assume Elastic License V2, neither of these are open source initiative approved according to the open source definition, which we are, Adam and I both think that that's an important definition, and they do hold a line in the sand, which is important for the brand of open source itself to continue to mean what it's meant for so long. Because those don't live up to that, literally the thing that you lost, even though they are very permissive licenses and allow a lot of different uses, they are not that. And so you could no longer call Elasticsearch open source. What did that do to you, the brand of Elastic, to you personally, to the company? Like, what was the knock on effects of that change?
Well, first of all, I was very sad, and it was painful. And as someone that loves open source and believes in it, that was a sad thing not to be able to call it open source. And I agree. By the way, I think if I understand things correctly, we could have called ourselves open source because there's nothing illegal by calling ourselves open source. But I believe in the social contract of open source and OSI. And we stood by it, and we changed our name, and we search and replace all open source with free and open and other stuff. And that was not great. Our usage, interestingly, we live in our own like bubble of interest and things like that. Our usage didn't change that much, to be completely honest. So the usage of Elasticsearch continued to grow. People just like downloaded the Elasticsearch and used it and ran it, and it was free, and using it for search and all the other use cases that people use it for. But we were still not called open source, and I think open source matters a lot. And we always hope that we will be able to get back to open source. When it comes to our brand, there's many people that I love in the open source community that were really upset with this change, and that hurt. Not the fact that they were upset with the change, that hurt because I made them feel like that, if that makes sense. And that was sad for me. And there were certain companies that say that they can only use open source that stopped using us, but generally we continue to grow as a company because the truth is that most users, they use open source software, but they don't engage with the community or contribute to issues or something on those lines. The portion that do, I adore, and we did lose some of them, sadly, because of that. And that's one of the reasons why we're back to being open source, because we want to bring them back.
But on the whole, you would say, in terms of Elastic, the business, not a major detriment.
It wasn't a big detriment. I think I actually think that because now Amazon Elasticsearch got renamed to OpenSearch and Amazon OpenSearch, then it's much easier for us and for our users to know what do they use and then evaluate us one versus the other. You know what I mean? It's Elasticsearch versus open source, OpenSearch. You know, figure this out. Like we had with Solar, like we have with Splunk, like we have with other products. It doesn't matter, and I think that's totally fair.